What is up, guys? Hope you are having a fantastic day. In today's video, I'm going to be ranking all of the killers that exist in Violence District. Now, this does not include the new Veil killer, as she's just released, and I'm going to be uploading a whole separate tips and tricks guide later on of how to play her once I kind of master her. And this is all my opinion. I could be wrong about some things, so if you have any different opinions, just let me know in the comments below. But with that being said, we're going to jump straight into it. Let's go. Alright, so starting out, we have the Slasher, and this is the base killer that you get for free when you start the game, and it's a great killer to start out with, because he's not only very beginner friendly, but he's also a very strong killer. Definitely top 3 in the game, just saying that straight off the bat. So, both of his abilities are Lake Mist and Pursuit. So what Lake Mist does is basically you turn completely undetectable, and you gain extreme movement speed. Like, you can basically get to the other side of a map very fast. This perk has an 80-second cooldown, and if you get stunned by a killer, or sorry, if you get stunned by a survivor, then you get out of the form. But you can't actually hit survivors when you're in this form, so really it's just meant for movement and traversing the map. But it's very strong. His other perk is, or sorry, not perk, his other ability is Pursuit, and this allows you to gain increased movement speed for 20 seconds, and you can smash through obstacles very quickly, faster than if you're just normally destroying them. Both of these abilities are very good and very useful for just traversing or being in chase against a survivor. They kind of allow you to close that gap pretty easily. His perks are Excitement, Brutal Strength, and Off-Screen Scare. Excitement allows you to have a movement speed boost of 6 to 12 to 18% depending on what upgrade it is. However, it does increase your aura radius by 12 studs, so makes you less sneaky to players, but it does increase your movement speed, which makes you much faster. So overall, this perk's not bad. It's not amazing. I don't always use it in my builds, but I have seen people use it, and I do use it sometimes, depending on it. But it's pretty good for speed builds, so it's not a terrible perk. His other perk is Brutal Strength, though, and this perk is definitely the highlight perk that he has. It's the best one for sure. Basically, what it does is it increases the speed of which you break pallets and generators by 20 to 30 to 40%, and this perk is very useful to just smash through pallets much faster. This paired with his other ability of Pursuit, which allows you to just smash through pallets, really makes him a pallet destroyer. If you have it equipped on him, he can just not even think about pallets, dude. But I use this perk pretty much on every single killer that I have, every build that I have. For the most part, I have this perk equipped. And I highly recommend it. Now, his last perk is Off-Screen Scare, and this makes it so that when you're not chasing a survivor, you have a 6 to 8 to 10% speed boost. I don't really use this perk, but I mean, it's not terrible. I just feel like there's better perks out there, but you know, it can be good for a speed build, or just if you don't have many other options, but not a bad perk overall. And I would say this killer is easily top 2 in the game. He's very strong and has lots of potential, especially with some great perks. So with that being said, definitely an S tier killer. Let's move on to the next one. Alright, so next up we have the one, the only, the Stalker. Man, I love this killer, dude. He's very fun to play as. I mean, starting off the bat, so his main ability is obviously, as his name implies, to stalk people, and how he does this is with the right click of your mouse, you basically get to see a player highlighted that's in front of you, and you start to fill this meter. And once this meter is fully filled, you unlock something called the Evil's Grasp, and what this does is you lunge forward at a survivor and you grab them and slam them down into the ground, taking off 1 health state and applying anti-heal for 40 seconds. Now, this is a very awesome ability for catching players off guard, especially because the Stalker actually doesn't have any killer aura, so you can kind of sneak up on people. But once you use this ability, you enter the hunt mode. And the hunt mode makes it so that you lose your undetectable status, but you gain a movement speed boost, and you gain a speed boost to actions such as vaulting and destroying obstacles. Now, this lasts for 50 seconds, and then you return to your previous state. So, once you're in this mode, it's very crucial that you're kind of, chasing down survivors. You're not really sneaking around the map anymore like you would be previously. You're kind of just going out there and getting some kills and stuff, and it's very fun. It's really engaging gameplay. I like it because it kind of forces you to chase survivors, so it's not just like brain dead gameplay. But it's very fun, very useful. It's definitely like gonna take a bit if you're kind of new to learn, because you kind of really have to be smart with where you're positioning yourself if you're trying to catch people off guard and whatnot. But with that being said, let's move on to his perks. So his first perk is at level 15, and that's the Predator perk, which makes it so when a survivor escapes the chase, you can see their aura for 4 seconds. Now this works with a 40 to 35 to 30 second cooldown. It's a pretty useful perk for aura builds. Especially for the new Veil Killer. Actually, I found that it's actually pretty useful. But overall, it's not a terrible perk, but probably won't see it being used too much by people. Level 30 perk is Eternal Torment, and this makes it so that when you are stunned by a survivor, and this really only includes pallets, this does not include things like the flashlight or the parry dagger, they become invulnerable for 20 to 25 to 30 seconds, and you can basically one-shot them with this perk. So if they're completely healed and you hit them after they've stunned you within that the time that it gives you, then you can just knock them instantly, and then this perk goes on a cooldown of 40 seconds. So this is a very useful perk, and I highly recommend it. I use this in a lot of builds, and a lot of people use this perk. It's very useful, and I would recommend it. Now his last perk is his level 45 perk, Play with Your Food. This perk makes it so that every time that you let a survivor escape, the perk gains 1 token up to a maximum of 3 tokens. This grants a stackable 5, 6 to 7% speed boost per token, up to a maximum of 15 to 18 to 21%. And basically this makes you like move much faster, obviously. This paired with other speed perks is great for a good speed build. And this basically how it works is every time that you perform a basic attack or special attack, anything that damages survivors, you do lose 1 token. So you kind of want to stay at 3 tokens, but once you're at like a lot of tokens or something, or if you just have a good opportunity, then you want to kind of go in and kill the survivors. His perks overall are great, and he's a super fun killer. Depending on the build, I feel like he can be really good. But if you don't have great perks, or you don't really have any perks on him, he's kind of a weaker killer. So I'd really say he falls between the range of A to kind of C tier. It really just depends on what kind of build you have. But with that being said, let's move on to the next killer. Alright guys, so next up we have the Masked, and this killer is either S tier or complete garbage. There's really no in between. So how he works is he has all these different masks, such as a snake mask, a tiger mask, a duck mask, etc. And these masks kind of determine his gameplay because they determine what ability he has. So each mask has its own unique ability, and they all do different things, and it's completely RNG based. So every 30 seconds you can switch to a mask for a whole minute, and it's really just random what mask you get. So for example, the duck mask gives you a chainsaw that can one shot after you charge it up. There's a tiger mask which allows you to punch people, but you can't lunge forward, and it also one shots them. So I mean, it depends on the mask you get. Like, you could get completely unlucky and get some terrible masks that really just don't give you much benefits at all, but you could also get some insane masks. Now his perks are Hard Swing, Combo Streak, and Crackdown. What Hard Swing does is when you hit a survivor with a basic attack, they get the Winded status effect for 10 to 15 to 20 seconds, and then Combo Streak allows you to successfully, when you successfully hit a survivor with a basic attack, you get a 5% speed boost for 8 to 9 to 10 seconds. However, although that kind of sounds not too great, I'm pretty sure it's stackable. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that it's like stackable, the speed boost, because yeah, you can go like really fast with this, and highly recommend it for any speed build that you're using. It's very useful for that, and in general, it's a top tier perk in the game. Crackdown, also a pretty awesome perk. It increases the damage that you deal to generators by 5 to 10 to 15 charges, so really great for slowing down gen progression in matches, and just in general, it's a pretty strong perk. Overall, if you're gonna be using him, you either just like him or you want his perks. I really don't play him too much. I kind of got him for his perks, and that was about it. But he's not a terrible killer overall. Just not really my gameplay style. So I would say that he's probably B tier. Can't really put him too low because he can be really good, but I can't put him too high because he can also be pretty trash. So with that being said, he's about B tier, and let's move on to the next killer. Okay, so now we are moving on to the killer, or Jeff, or Legion, whatever you want to call him. This is a pretty interesting killer. Basically, his main ability is called Frenzy, and upon activation, it gives him various abilities such as being able to vault pallets and chain hits to gain movement speed, which allow you to track survivors nearby. And so basically how it works is once you're in this frenzy mode, you can hit a survivor, you become faster. If you hit a different survivor, you become even faster, and it just keeps going on until you eventually can knock someone. And it's kind of confusing at first to play as, but once you kind of get the hang of it, it's pretty cool. It's a fun ability. Paired with perks like Combo Streak, it's actually broken, dude. He will like literally fly across the map. Sometimes it's honestly like too fast to even be able to like control where you're going, but yeah, he's definitely meant for a speed build, I'd say, or like even an aura build could work. But overall, he's kind of alright. His ability can be underwhelming against certain players, especially if you learn kind of how to counter him and kind of bait him into attacks, because if you miss his knife while you're in frenzy, then that really sucks. But moving on to his perks, he has Terror Spread, Sloppy Mess, and Resentment Clinger. What Terror Spread does is it makes it so that each time a survivor completes repairing a generator, they will suffer from the winded status effect for 20 to 30 to 40 seconds. Sloppy Mess makes it so that whenever you hit a survivor with a basic attack, they bleed out more and make it easier to track them, and it slows the speed of which they're healed by 30 to 35 to 40%. And then lastly, Resentment Clinger makes it so that when you get stunned, you get a token. While successfully trapping a survivor, you get 2 tokens. This is up to a maximum of 3 tokens. Each token grants you a 30 to 40 to 50% lunge increase to your basic attacks. And using a basic attack does remove a token. So overall, his perks are decent. I feel like Sloppy Mess is probably the highlight perk that he has. I've seen that in a lot of builds. This is really the only killer that I've not max leveled, so I can't really say too much about him. But from what I've seen, he's not like a top killer in the game, but he's not terrible either. So with that being said, I don't know, I would probably put him in like low, maybe like mid B tier, I'd say. But with that being said, let's move on to the next killer. Alright, now we have one of my favorites, the Hidden. He's an insanely fun and powerful killer in this game. So his main 2 abilities are Mark and Leap. What Mark does is it allows you to lunge forward, marking any survivor hit for 10 seconds to initiate the hunt. And so basically you dash very far forward, and it's a very strong ability, especially if you have a survivor kind of in a tight space. Now, Leap allows you to launch yourself in any direction you're looking at, over obstacles and everything in your way. So this allows you to not only jump over pallets, but just to catch up to survivors quicker. And this paired with Mark allows you to just gain insane distance, and it makes survivors running from you extremely difficult. He's really great for just speed builds and aura builds overall. Really just like anything. He's such a strong killer. His abilities are also very good. He has Echolocation, Enhanced Senses, and Next in Line. These are literally all aura perks, but these are some insanely strong perks. Echolocation allows you to see all nearby survivors within 70 studs for 3 to 4 to 5 seconds once you break a generator. This is very useful if you're going to gen and the people that are doing it run off. If you break that gen, then you can see exactly where they are. Enhanced Senses allows you to see a survivor's aura for 3 to 4 to 5 seconds after they performed a rushed action. So this includes vaulting over pallets or windows and stuff like that. Like if they do it very quickly, then it shows their aura. And lastly, next in line is his last perk, which makes it so when you down a survivor, you can see the aura of the farthest survivor from you to 3 to 4 to 5 seconds. This perk's also pretty good. I use it on a good amount of my builds, so I'd say really this killer is one of the ones that you want to get. Not only just because he's strong, but his perks are very strong. So yeah, overall he's one of my favorites. He's insanely fun to play as, and yeah, easily I'd say A or S tier. Definitely one of the top killers in the game. Now let's move on to the next killer. Alright, so next up we have the second newest killer in the game, the Abyss Walker. He is a pretty cool killer. I love his theme. His, just everything about him is pretty awesome. But so he has two abilities, Dark Severance and Abyssal Pursuit. What Dark Severance does is it charges up a horizontal slash that you can dodge by crouching, and you gain movement speed during the build up, and you unleash attack that deals damage to however many survivors are impacted by it. So this ability, what really sucks is that it can just easily be so countered, because any kind of intermediate player can just crouch. If you know that you can crouch, you can literally just crouch and dodge this ability every time, which kind of makes it useless. And then Abyssal Pursuit makes it so that the Abyss Walker sends out a burst of corruption that travels through the whole map. Survivors hit by it are highlighted for the killer and slowed by 50% for 7 seconds. So the slowness can be pretty useful because if they're kind of on one hit, then if they're already just on one hit left, then you can slow them down, hit them. They can't really use, other than the adrenaline shot, you can't use any perks as a survivor to kind of get away from the killer. So it's kind of easy to get survivors with this ability as long as you hit it. But again, just like Dark Severance, it can pretty easily be dodged because there's not a huge hitbox on Abyssal Pursuit, so it's kind of easy to dodge it. And if you really just get good at juking killers, then both of these abilities kind of become useless, and it just makes it really difficult to catch survivors. Now, to make up for it, I mean, his sword is huge, and the hitbox is insane. This dude can literally just hit you through a window, bro. This killer actually makes me rage with the hitbox sometimes. But I mean, as long as you're just dodging his abilities, if you're in a server with some good survivors, then he's pretty easy to counter. His perks are also not super special. Corrupted Path, Abyssal Covenant, and Shadow Trace are his perks. Corrupted Path makes it so that when hitting a survivor, you spread your corruption on them, making them trackable for 10 to 15 to 20 seconds. Abyssal Covenant makes it so that when a generator reaches 50% repair progression, there's a 20 to 30 to 40% chance it'll become corrupted and break, which alerts the killer. This can only trigger twice per match, and I'm not gonna lie, this ability hardly works, and it's really not even that great of a perk, to be honest. Shadow Trace makes it so that at the start of a round, your killer's intent radius is non-existent for 30 to 45 to 60 seconds. None of these perks are really super useful. I mean, Corrupted Path is probably the best out of the three, but even still, this killer really needs a buff, dude. I'm not gonna lie, because he's such a cool killer, but he's just not that great compared to any of the other killers out there. And if I had to be honest, he's probably the weakest killer in the game, which I really see a lot of people using this killer, so it's kind of surprising. But yeah, I would say he's the weakest. Probably low C tier. I mean, he's still usable and he's really fun, but I hope he gets a buff in the future because he really needs one. And with that being said, those were all the killers ranked in the game, so definitely Jason or the Hidden are one of the best killers. But if you guys have any other opinions, let me know in the comments below. I'm super interested in hearing what you all have to say about any of the killers, and don't take this too seriously. Of course, this game is just for fun, and any killer can be good if you put the time and effort into practicing them. So with that being said, have fun. I hope you learned some things new in this video, and see you around.